everybody. Welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. This is our end of the 2017 preview
end of 2017
episode, where we will not actually be previewing 2018 so much as the episode that will come out after the new year.
New year. I love 2018 already.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz, and with me as always are my fabulous co-hosts, ringing in the new year.
Hey, Rob, it's Diana.
And it's Dick Clark, back from the dead.
It's too soon, man.
Oh,
Too
just
soon.
kidding. It's Jackie.
Hey, Jackie. So ABA Inside Track is a podcast about the discussion of behavior analysis and behavior analytic research. And in between our full-length episodes where we go over a topic of the day, we do these little preview episodes where we talk about what articles we will be discussing, so you have a chance to read them ahead of time, if you so desire. And also to talk about sort of, the goings-on in the world. Now, this episode is actually not coming out the week before the episode because next week will be for
Christmas.
will be Christmas,
It'll
regardless
be our
of whether
winter holiday.
well, you know what? Actually, it's Christmas regardless of whether you celebrate Christmas or not. The
Right.
holiday of Christmas will fall next week. If you don't celebrate Christmas, then it's still
That's
Christmas.
fine.
You just don't celebrate it, and that's cool. If you
celebrating
do
the-
celebrate Christmas, then you would be celebrating Christmas.
Right. We're also
Right.
celebrating.
We are on vacation next week.
Yeah, and most people are on vacation or doing something, and they may or may not be listening to podcasts. So next week we'll probably do something a little, a little silly thing in between, and then the following week, so the very first week of the brand new year, we will have our first brand new episode of 2018,
Woo!
and the topic will be behavioral fitness. And we will actually have a special guest. If you've been following the show for a while, sometimes we'll do bonus episodes. And we actually did one with Nick Green down in Florida, who does a lot of work on behavioral fitness. How do we use behavior analysis to increase people's movement, to work on exercise skills? He writes a lot on his website, BehaviorFit.com, about diet and exercise and how behavior analysis can help improve those for people. And we had him on because he'd done a research article that we did for one of our our first grab bag episode.
First grab bag.
And we had him on to talk about that article, what that process was like, and just the overall work. And since then, he's been doing more research on the topic. So we thought, well, you know what? We had some new articles we were thinking of discussing anyway. Why not have Nick on again? So he was gracious enough to offer us some time. So we'll be having that full episode, not next week, but the week after, in early 2018.
It's coming just in time for everyone's New Year's resolution.
Oh, Matt, did we plan that on purpose? Did you plan that?
No.
I don't think we planned that
I
at
mean,
all.
yeah.
We did not plan it, but I think it is.
That works out great.
Genius.
So as you're making your exercise resolution, make an easy resolution. Start by resolving to listen to ABA Inside Track's episode that first week after the new year. You'll be glad you did. We'll be discussing 2 articles as well as some updates from Nick in the world of behavioral fitness. But the 2 articles we'll be discussing are the effects of a variable ratio reinforcement schedule with changing criteria on exercise in obese and non-obese boys by Luca and Holborn from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. 1992, not 2002, 1992.
2092.
It's an old one. And Step It Up! Using the good behavior game to increase
that's
physical
amazing.
activity with elementary school students at recess by Galbraith and Norman from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis 2017. That's a fall issue, people. That's hot off the presses. You may have just gotten that in your mailbox a week
Steamy.
ago. And
Yep.
we're already ready to discuss it because we love the good behavior game here at ABA Inside Track, and we love fitness.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the idea of fitness. We love that. Maybe
Right.
being fit, maybe not as much. So those
the
are our
resolution
articles.
of being fit. Sounds great on paper, at least. That's
Yes,
all.
so that is something, if you're dreading the holidays, dreading the season and the darkness, well, that's something to look forward to in 2 weeks. And that's our preview part of our show.
Yeah.
And now it's time for errata. Errata, the section where we expected people would write in being like, you guys are dumb and everything you wrote was stupid and here's the correct response. But mostly,
You only thought that.
No, mostly people, well, that was why we named it that. I think we all
Right.
were pretty down on ourselves when we started.
Yeah.
But mostly people write nice things.
Also, it had the word rat in it, and I thought it was a clever pun
yes.
because, as you know, puns are my favorite.
They
They
are
really
your
are.
favorite.
And I never get them until like 5 days later. And then I'm like, what? Oh my God, I got it.
So now it's mostly just when people send us nice emails or if they have questions for us, then we want to discuss those because we appreciate that people took the time to write us anything.
Yeah. Woo!
Jackie doesn't. She's exhausted at the
I
thought
don't know
of
what
it.
that happened. I don't know what happened right there. I just needed oxygen.
So
Sometimes that happens.
that happens.
It does.
But I got some oxygen now, and so I want to.
There we go.
My microphone keeps falling.
Do you have some listener mail?
I have some listener mail.
We can't. That's not our section. It's errata. Don't call it. Don't call it the
Do you have
listener
some
mail.
errata that's not actually corrections?
Yeah.
Great. What is it?
So I have a few little tidbits that I want to bring up.
Okay.
Awesome.
So one fellow listener named Amanda. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Also a Regis grad. Just a little
Awesome.
shout out to a Regis grad. She says, "Hey, hope all's well. I love the CMO podcast. It made me feel like I knew what I was talking about." Us too. She said, "I'm going to make listening to Inside Track part of my regular schedule. I'm going to... hold on. I lost my line of track. Wow, I'm rocking today, guys. I'm rocking.
It's okay.
So she's going to make listening to part of her schedule, and she wanted to know if there was any seminal articles that we reference and find helpful in our everyday practice. And so she's going to make a binder for each subject in ABA so that she has them readily available.
Awesome.
All right. That's always a good idea.
Yeah.
We
I
talked.
like it.
We talked before about how I have an elaborate binder system. I'd like to make it electronic, but it's really I don't know how to name the articles electronically. It's too much of a pain.
Mm-hmm.
But having them physically by subject area is very nice to have.
Yeah. So what are some of your seminal articles? What's your seminal article, Rob?
Well, mine is not one that I would necessarily consider seminal because this is a treatment that everybody uses now, or this has impacted every research that's come after it. But it certainly has impacted the way that I work on and describe any sort of social skill training to other individuals. And that would be Greg Hanley's Preschool Life Skills article from 2007. And we did a whole episode about it. So, we
34.
can... Yep, and we can link it. And I'll put... It'll be like here. I'll put pictures of what the articles are.
Yep.
And it is... I think the article I read that after I was done reading it and I sort of processed it, I said, wait a minute, this is how we should do every skill like this. Because again, for those of you, if you haven't listened to the episode, Preschool Life Skills looks at 13, real world skills that young children should be able to do that would include greeting someone when they enter the area, offering to share an item, asking appropriately, can I have an item, waiting for that item to be delivered, following one-step and two-step instructions. And again, a lot of those I think, I'd worked on in the past, I've seen people work on in the past, I've heard them described, and they usually describe them using kind of the principles of incidental teaching, but it was never as coherent as I thought it would be because you'd sort of have your data sheet and it would say hello, and you would just have to tally how many hellos were said per day, and it was hard to know, did that kid get a plus or a minus because they said hey or hi, or they sort of just looked in the direction of the person, or the person didn't prompt them, so does it count as a minus? And it was just, you just get this data that nobody did anything with. And the thing that I thought was awesome about the Preschool Life Skills was just the idea of, hey, every social skill is a series of discrete behaviors, and all you need to do to practice them is to use pretty much behavioral skills training. I think that's actually the first place I saw behavioral skills training used in an article, and it was just show them the skill and then practice the skill and then set up opportunities. You plan for these social skills to occur so that you can accurately judge the individual did or did not follow the unwritten social script. And if they did, you praise them. And if they didn't, you give them feedback and have them do it again until they do it correctly, just like in behavioral skills training. And just the idea, when I've had to explain how to do social skills to people, any skill, like listening to an adult, responding positively to feedback from an adult. If you have a student who just hates being told that to do something differently, and you teach them, all you have to do is say okay. You don't even have to follow the feedback. Just say okay, don't get in an argument. But you actually will need to plan to give a student feedback so you can be aware that they might do the wrong thing so you know how to respond, as opposed to sort of waiting for the student to fail and then when they're pissed off at you trying to explain to them how they should do it differently, because we all love to learn a new skill when we're super pissed off at somebody.
I love learning new skills when I'm frustrated.
Yeah. So that article, again, might not have changed the world of research, but that is how I teach every social skill, some variation of that. And I think when I explain it to people, they're like, oh, I don't have to take every instance of this one skill of the million that happen a day. And they actually are able to run real practice in that social skill. So it's really changed my practice.
I really like that one as well. I just recently gave a talk to the research preschool center based camp. I don't know what they call it. It's not a day.
How many more words do you have?
I know.
Children's.
It's a children's center. It's a children's center.
There you go.
So I gave a talk to all of the assistant teachers in the children's center about how they can modify the preschool life skills for kids younger than preschool, and then kids slightly older than preschool, like kindergarten level. Maybe they miss those skills. So we did that type of training at the beginning of the year, and it's been really helpful, I think, for the teachers to actually think about social skills as something you need to teach and hone and practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totes.
Thanks,
'Kay.
Rob.
What's yours, Dana?
Okay, so I've been thinking about a few, but I'm going to talk about them really quickly. I think, and we mentioned this one on the show at some point too, the Bannerman article, 1990.
How to take a nap and eat too many donuts. The right to take a nap. To take a nap and eat too many donuts.
Something habilitation. The right to take a nap and eat too many donuts. I think that anyone working in the social services field should read that article. It will definitely improve your perspective on how we should be thinking about the clients that we work with. 2 areas of research interest that I have are working with young children in early intensive behavioral intervention and then teaching joint attention skills. So in those 2 areas, of course, if you're going to talk about a seminal article for EIBI, it would be the Lovaas study. But the article that I really like is Howard et al. 2005. It makes a comparison between intensive early intervention, EIBI, low intensity alternative therapies, and then they also include a comparison between high intensity alternative therapies. And that's a really important component because often the argument is, well, you're providing EIBI at this really high level, like 25 hours a week, of course you're going to see progress. They compared that to a group that was receiving an equivalent number of hours of other types of therapies, eclectic therapies, and they didn't see the same progress with that group. That group remained the same as the control. So to me, that is a really nice study and a great one to use to show how effective EIBI is. And then in the realm of joint attention, my favorite article is Isaacson and Holth, 2009. They do a beautiful, beautiful job of teaching, initiating joint attention. And they also walk through at the beginning of that article how to establish social interaction as a reinforcer, which is a lovely demonstration as well. And if we do a joint attention episode, you will totally hear more about that article. So I think that's it. The only other one I wanted to mention, and it's not one particular study, but it's sort of a series of studies that, again, has come from Hanley and his colleagues, was analyzing or thinking to assess the preference of the participants for the different treatments that they were experiencing and looking to see in a concurrent it's a choice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Choice arrangement, which treatment they preferred after they had gone through the varying treatments. And there were, different results for different studies, but the overall result was individuals prefer contingencies. They preferred for their behavior to contact a contingency versus being provided reinforcers at random or on a non-contingent schedule. So that to me was really eye-opening to think about. That's a really important component to consider is how do our clients think about the treatments that we're putting into place? And maybe it could be a really quick assessment that we do for them, but I think that it's another important component.
Cool. All right, my 2 that I really love. My first one is on, both of them kind of are looking at the same thing, but I really love reading research related to generalization and maintenance. And one of my most favorite articles in the whole entire world that I make everyone read that's ever come in contact with me, even if they're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, oh my gosh, you need something to do tomorrow? Here, read this article. It's the Spragg and Horner article. It's 1984. It's about general case analysis. And what they did is they taught vending machine use through a general case analysis taught participants how to use multiple vending machines, not just one vending machine and then another vending machine. And they saw that when they used the general case analysis, that they could use a wide variety of vending machines and not just the ones that they had taught or trained.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and I think we sometimes overlook general case analysis because it's so top heavy, right? So it requires a lot of planning. It requires a lot of thought and oversight. We can't just be like, okay, go train that one vending machine. Here's a TA. Let's go for it. It takes a lot more work, but it takes a ton of work. But the end result is what we want. We want a skill that can, be more flexible and be pertinent in multiple situations. So I love that article, Spragg and Horner, 1984.
I think they taught how to take the dollar bill and rub it against the side of the machine, straighten it out.
I think that they actually had that there. I think they use quarters actually.
Because that's an important skill.
It is.
If your dollar bill's all wrinkly,
that's true.
It won't
but
take
I think they actually use quarters. Because then everything was 75 cents.
Probably didn't.
It was in the 80s.
I don't know if they took dollar bills.
Yeah, they didn't
then.
need the dollars. Everything was 25 cents. And then my second one is by Bayer, Peterson, and Sherman in 1967. The development of imitation by reinforcing behavioral similarity to a model. If you all know me, I'm a sucker for imitation and observational learning. And I think this is a really nice article that demonstrates that you can teach an imitated repertoire when previously, before this, you couldn't. They're like, oh, no one can do anything with any of these kids. They're the worst.
They were wrong.
And they were very wrong. And so I love pulling this article out because they're like, and look at these 60 skills that we could teach. It's they're exclamation pointing as they're writing. And so I love that one. I think it's really interesting for anyone to read if they're looking to get into our field. Yeah.
I was not told we could pick multiple articles.
Oh.
Do you want to contribute another article?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I just wanted everyone to know how left out I felt. This is the season of giving.
Oh,
That's
if you
true.
think of something else, just shout it out.
I have other articles I like, but I know we're going a little long on our
Okay,
preview.
fine.
Okay, last
You guys were better with your citations. I don't have them.
last thing, I wanted to give a quick shout out to another listener that wrote us I'm sorry.
Your microphone looks
My microphone is not
Can we hold it for you?
I
I
think
got
for
it.
Christmas we're
Okay.
getting some new cool mic stands.
The
'cause
microphone.
These are starting to go.
The microphone is not in a holiday spirit. It's Valerie, and she had just recently listened to our podcast for the first time.
Hi, Valerie.
Hello.
And she was impressed how we can make scientific topics funny. So that's nice.
That's nice.
That's
She
really
said
nice.
our beloved science can be a bit stuffy, and you folks abolished that. So that's nice. And she said that anxiety is really fascinating. She was listening to the anxiety episode, and that she consults in public schools, and this comes up really frequently.
Yeah, I imagine.
And so she says that everyone expects her to fix it by herself and really quickly. And so she said that she saw an amazing presentation about anxiety in students by Jessica Minahan last year.
Someone just gave me a book by her.
Yeah, so everyone says that
the behavior code.
Everyone says that she's doing a really nice job. So we should check her out.
Yeah, we should. I
and
have heard
then-
of the behavior code. I haven't read it.
I haven't
It is a
either.
nice cover. It looks very readable.
Based on the
Oh,
cover,
good.
we
I
recommend.
just received it. I think it was a discussion in the district I'm in. If we
Nice.
would maybe we wanted to talk about it as a
book club?
department. Yeah.
Fun. And then she ends it up and says she sort of used the same contingency that Rob did with running. Instead of running, her exercise of choice was Bikram yoga, and her reinforcement was the best. I might actually use this. She would buy really nice, expensive soap to use after the class was over. I love
To eat,
expensive-
they're delicious.
I love expensive
That's a
soap.
good idea.
It's a great idea. So thank you, Valerie, for listening.
My expensive soap that someone gave me is so nice that I've never used it, but I just keep it in my tank top drawer.
Does anyone use expensive soaps?
I do.
thought they were just for
No,
decoration.
I do.
I'm too nervous.
I always use them. I get them every year for Christmas, and I always use them. And I use them until I put water in them, but it's not like soap. It's like this kind of soap. You know, like squeeze out
Hand
soap.
so-
Hand
Pump
pump?
soap.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
Pump
squeeze
soap.
out soap. And then I like put a little bit of water in it, shake it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so
okay.
good.
You make
You
a
know?
little. You make a little.
I'll make
No,
a
this is
little
like a
soap
bar of
mixture.
soap.
Oh yeah, I don't bar soap.
Right.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad about that too, because then it gets smaller and smaller.
But
and
yeah,
you're
try
like,
that.
"No."
I put it in there, and then everything smells like soapy.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm never buying you nice soap ever again.
Is it from you?
No.
It could have
But
been. I don't know.
I know, it's true. It could have been. I do like buying nice soap.
They're nice.
Cool,
So,
thanks
Thanks,
guys.
Valerie.
Excellent. That does us for our errata segment.
Yeah.
And that does it for another year of ABA Inside
We
Track.
did it. We're almost to our 2-year
We're almost at
anniversary.
when's our 2-year anniversary? March?
In
March.
January.
Is it January?
No, it's
No.
January.
I don't think it's January.
March.
We could look back. We actually have these dates
Oh, it's
March.
on the internet. It's March.
March. The internet saves my brain.
It might be March 8th.
Just some other actual housekeeping. We had just recently found out that our current podcast host will only let us put 100 episodes online before they just start not showing up anymore. So over the vacation week, the other reason we probably don't want to have like an episode that really is important or that we have a special guest on is because I'm going to try to be moving our podcast feed, meaning there's a good chance that all the podcasts go away and you have to resubscribe to the show. So I hope that won't happen. It seems like it should be a relatively straightforward task, but if
We have all these boxes around here. All the episodes are packed up.
yeah, ready to go.
Big
We
brown boxes.
ship them
Yep.
to the storage space. So if worst comes to worst and suddenly you don't see ABA Inside Track next week, then something went
Rob broke it.
terribly wrong. And you can certainly check out our Facebook page or Twitter, which those won't break. Those are just Facebook or Twitter, /ABA Inside Track. And I'll try to keep people up to date. So if you were thinking of listening to episodes over a vacation that you might have, or if you're traveling, I would suggest download them all right now, just in case they all vanish for a couple days here or there. But I'm going to try to do it when I have free time so I can fix it if it totally blows up on me. But
Smart idea.
that will allow us to keep seeing more than the 100 episodes. We have more than 100,
Yeah.
not full-length episodes, but more than 100 produced pieces of content right around now, I think, or we will in a week or two.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of us talking.
All right. Well, lift with your knees.
I will do my best.
Okay.
Yay. I'll sit and watch while drinking my tea. Oh, Rob, can you put that a little to the left? No, a little to the right. No, a little forward.
I only get one article, and I'm getting all this harassed. I should get more out there. So if you were interested in asking us a question or giving us any feedback, you can also, if not on social media, you can email us at abainsidetrack@gmail.com. And we hope you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can get these videos either on Facebook or on YouTube. Or if you just want to listen to the sound of our voices, these just come out in the podcast feed. Which will be broken soon. I'm super sure.
No, stop saying that. It's fine. It'll be fine.
We fixed every other stupid problem we've had. All right, well, that takes us to the end of our year. Thank you all very, very much for those of you who are listening, who send us feedback, who've purchased CEs through us.
We like you.
Who've said, oh, I heard your show. It was pretty good.
We
And
like you.
whatever. We really appreciate it. It's the best gift, the best Christmas gift we could have asked for.
We like you. If you notice, I was wearing this sweater last year at Christmas time, too.
Oh, my gosh.
In the Christmas picture.
That's right. You were.
Oh, you were with the big tree?
Yep. But this year, it fits way better.
We're going
That's
back there,
right.
so I hope that tree is there again.
Me too.
He was
Yeah,
great.
He was
that tree
so
was
great.
awesome. Well, thank you, Jackie and Diana,
Thank
for all your
you.
hard
Yeah.
work and knowledge and know-how.
Thank you,
for,
Rob.
Thank you for letting me sit on your table and barge into your marriage every day.
That's how I describe the
Anytime.
show. My wife and I do a podcast, and our friend Jackie.
And she just shows up.
She's not even a behavior analyst. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah. Comic relief.
All right. Well,
thank
everybody,
you.
thank you. Enjoy. If you have some time off, enjoy. Have a happy holiday. If you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you're not, just enjoy the season,
Happy Hanukkah.
whatever season it may be,
Happy
wherever you are in the
Kwanzaa.
world. Yes. Happy holidays.
Solstice.
There's so
Yes,
many
happy.
holidays. So many great fun things to be happy about.
Come and visit.
Yeah, come find us, and we're out in the woods, or wherever. And we will see you all in the new year. Everyone take care. Bye.
Bye.